this video, I'm going to show you two chord shapes. These chord shapes can be moved around anywhere on the neck, but they're not bar chords. They have two open strings in them. So when the root is moved around, the relationship of the open strings to the root changes and creates a different type of chord. That's why I call these unique chord voicings, because they're usually only available in one position on one root on the neck. I'm J.U. Daly. I've been a professional guitar player since the early 70s. I estimate I've played 10,000 shows. Since the early 80s, I've had anywhere from 50 to 90 personal students a week. In 1999, I published a series of method books for the guitar called Vertical Truth, Chordal Mechanisms for the Guitar. And on top of all that, a few years ago, I created and I manage MasterGuitarSchool.com, which is bringing this video to you. Now, these two shapes, we're going to put them at the 3rd fret for the sake of learning them. The first shape looks like a major bar chord, only with no bar. The first two strings will be open. Some people might call this an E shape. So this chord shape can be moved around on the neck. And you can get some very interesting and complex chords from just one simple chord shape. Now the 5th string root is a basic power chord with the first two strings open. So this shape can also be moved around. It can also create some interesting and very complex chords. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these at the frets that I think are the most usable, that I've found to be the most usable over the years. I'll talk about the names, or at least I'll name everything, but you don't need to understand the names or how I got those names. At the 1st fret, 6th string root, F major 7 sharp 11. At the 2nd fret, F sharp 7 11. At the 3rd fret, it's a G6. At the 5th fret, it's an A add 9. It's a beautiful one. B flat is B flat, flat 5, flat 9. At the 7th fret is B11. At the 8th fret, C major 7. And at the 10th fret, D6 9. From the 5th string, at the 1st fret, B flat, flat 9, flat 5 with no 3rd. 2nd fret is B5 8 11. 3rd fret is C major 7. 4th fret is C sharp minor 7. 5th fret, D6 9 with no 3rd. 7th fret, E5 8. That's just a stack of 5ths, power chords. Root 5, root 5, root. Fret 9, F sharp 7 11. And fret 10 is G6. So it doesn't really matter if you're a beginner or if you're an advanced, you can still get a ton of function out of those shapes, whether you know the names or not. Just figure out how to play them, figure out what sounds you like, and away you go. What I've just shown you is a very quick version of the first lesson in a series of lessons that I'm going to launch in about 10 days. It's called Unique Chord Voicings. It's a downloadable PDF. It has 32 lessons, has 155 pages, and over 1,300 fretboard diagrams and 35 videos. Yes, I said 1,300 fretboard diagrams. Actually, 1,303 to be exact. And yeah, it's overwhelming and intimidating if you don't know any of it and you try and wrap your brain around it all at once. But that's not the way to learn anything. You learn in increments, small steps, getting the most out of each step that you take. And each step is self-contained, and if that's all you did, you would get tons of function and value out of that single step. Take what I just showed you, for instance, those two chord shapes. There's only two shapes, but I actually gave you 16 different chords, but only two shapes. Any shape can be put at any one of 12 roots. So if you divide 1,300 by 12, you get about 108. And there's actually less than 108 because most of the shapes are not available at all 12 roots. So it's not as much as it may appear in the beginning. And you shouldn't worry about the big picture. That's my job. You take each step that you do and you get the most out of it. And each step is its own reward. You know, each lesson is its own self-contained reward, whether you move on or not. So, with the two shapes that I've just given you, you can put together all kinds of neat sounding progressions, and you can hear these kinds of chords in pop songs from all eras. But for instance, I'm not going to name songs. I don't want to get blocked on YouTube. That's pretty cool sounding. Here's another one. Uses the same kinds of shapes, the ones that I just showed you. So you can see that you can get some really cool sounds from just a couple of simple shapes, moving them around with the open strings in play. The lesson that I just gave you, you could spend months on that, figuring out those chords, figuring out the frets you like to hear them at, realizing there are $1 million songs that use them. You can use them in your own writing. There's all kinds of applications and function that you can get out of just those two chord shapes. So when you think about this lesson series, remember, there are 32 lessons, and you have gotten a real quick version of just the first one. So think about what the second one would be, think about what the third one would be, and so on. One step at a time, and each step is functional. There'll be another video coming in a few days, and I'll show you more unique voicings. All the unique voicings that I'll show you in the next video will be derived from first position chords. Like you probably already know them, like G, D, E. We can get some unique voicings out of those positions and make all the typical songs that you normally play sound unique and different. You can kind of put your own stank on them. If what you've seen so far interests you, go to masterguitarschool.com and read a couple of blogs. If you go to the index page, the taskbar across the top, on the very far right hand side, there's a link that says blog. And if you click on that, the first two blogs that come up are what you want to read. The first one is called Altered States, Unique Voicings. That would be the first one to read. The second one would be called Unique Voicings Are Coming. And they will give you more explanation about what unique voicings are. And the two tunes that I just played for you, or pieces of the two tunes, will be identified in those blogs and others. There'll also be a video in both blogs. There's a video of the first lesson in this series, so it's the same two chord shapes that I just showed you, only there's a lot more explanation. If you're not already a Master Guitar School site member, please consider signing up. For one thing, it'll guarantee that you get the notification for the next video. Plus, this lesson series that's going to be launched in a week or so will only be available to Master Guitar School site members. It will not be released to the general public until after the launch window, and the special price for the launch will be ridiculously low, but it's only available to site members. So that's another reason to sign up. Be a Master Guitar School site member. Sign up is free, doesn't cost anything, and with the exception of these launches, you basically get one email a month. It's a newsletter. Most newsletters contain a free lesson that's not been published anywhere else. So there's advantages to being a site member, and I promise not to spam you. So if you've made it this far, I appreciate you, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video, so you keep a lookout on that. If you go to the blogs, leave a comment, leave questions, and I will respond. We'll see you the next time.